Historic Clonmel in the heart of County Tipperary, a town which only a few days ago was overrun by the River Suir and is now about to face floods of a very different kind. The Chorus Irish National Rally Championship is in town, and the streets will soon be awash with the floods of people and rally cards for the start of round 10, the Moylan and Murray Tipperary Stonethrowers Rally. The cars, the crews, the support teams are gathering from all over Ireland as the championship moves into its crucial and final stretch. The series was dominated in the early part of the year by Belfast dentist John Gillece, but he has missed the last 4 rounds, and in his absence, Michael Barrable has emerged as his nearest challenger.
Yeah, looking forward immensely to this rally today. We have a good recce put in for it. The car's going well, the weather's lovely. I'm looking forward, lovely stages.
A lot better than this time last week when they were flooded out, but that wouldn't really bother you. You don't mind the rain, do you?
No, I actually like the wet. I prefer it either all wet or all dry. Now, from what I heard during the week with the weather reports that were down here, that it was a boat you would have needed more so than a car. But it's a lovely day today, and we're looking forward to it.
Gillece is back after a 7-week sabbatical.
John Gillece, our championship leader, for various reasons. You haven't been out in the last 4 rallies, have you?
No, I haven't, Brian. I was on holidays and I had to go to a wedding as well. So just the things, the wife didn't make the bookings correctly and so on. So I missed more events than I would have liked.
But the lads didn't really capitalise on it. They could have walked all over you and they were asleep.
Absolutely. I was amazed, and very thankful. Each Monday I got the results faxed to me from my office, and I just couldn't believe it. I mean, I had champagne lunches every Monday on the strength of it.
Donnelly is having difficulty with the complicated chorus scoring system.
You do 10 rallies and you register for 8. No, you register for 10 and you count 8, and he has done 5 and finished all 5. We have done 5 and only finished 3. So we have 4 now to do, or that we have to count. So
today is an important one for you.
Yeah, well, they're all important. The rest of them, it's all now. If Michael Barrable or myself don't finish a rally, John has it won.
Best of luck.
All right.
Trust Charlie to put everything into perspective. And as the countdown to the start begins, he and co-driver Jerry McVeigh know all too well that they will need all the good wishes going if they are to match the high-tech Toyota and Escort Cosworth in their 80s-style rear-wheel drive Manta 400. Centralised servicing for the day will be based in Feathered, and after a 4-year gap, the rally has returned to the challenging Slieve-na-Mon region, which was once an integral part of the Circuit of Ireland rally. The route today consists of a loop of 3 stages repeated 3 times, and although conditions are good, the floods of the past week have not cleared entirely, and there are dangerous patches of mud and water waiting to catch out the unwary. Barrable is very wary indeed and starts cautiously. He and his co-driver Joe Donnelly are only 4th quickest on the first stage. Michael has elected to run the Toyota and the harder compound Pirellis, and although he felt they weren't ideal on the first stage, he was happier when they'd scrubbed in on stages 2 and 3, where he set fastest times and moves into the lead, despite that slight overshoot. It was back in June when John Gillece was last behind the wheel of his red Escort, and although it isn't that apparent from the outside, he says he feels rusty and unsettled. His early stage times reflect a less-than-unsung driver, and John Gillece and co-driver Michael Gibson are back in 5th place by the end of the first loop. Charlie Donnelly may be confused about the rally whys and wherefores of the championship, but he certainly knows how to enjoy his Meteor Manta. After the first loop of stages, he's in 2nd place and only 3 seconds behind Barrable. Who says the Manta isn't competitive anymore? It certainly is when there's a Charlie Donnelly behind the wheel. The Metro 6R4 is another car that belies its age, and Ireland is ideal rally country for its potent combination of a V6 power and 4-wheel drive. Ray Breen and John Purcell slot their Keltec example into 3rd place behind Barrable and Donnelly. Frank O'Mahoney and Hugh McPhillips start strongly in the Kenny McKinstry Subaru and are in third after the first stage. But Big Frank is already beginning to experience the first signs of a steering problem with the Legacy and is gradually falling back. It is a problem that will later give him an additional price to pay. Donald O'Donovan and Pat Lorden in the OKI Sierra are all fired up right from the start and emerge from the first stage as a surprise leader. After the recent Limerick round, Donald discovered that the Sierra's water injection system was clogged up and a good clean out has worked wonders. But sadly, that is until the engine develops a misfire and he quickly loses ground, eventually retiring after just 3 stages. Dermot Kelly and Kevin Casey in the Kelly Motors Escort Cosworth are back in 9th place. Whereas Derek Smith is in 7th place and lucky to be there. The Ashgrove Interparts Escort broke a steering arm on the road section to the first stage. Hal Lewis and Paddy MacDonald in the Hogan Oil Metro are sandwiched between Smith and Kelly, despite clattering into a hedge on stage 3. But there was no real damage, just a dent in the confidence. Seamus Leonard completes the top 10 in his Nissan Sunny. He and Willie Boland are the leading Formula 2 crew on the event. Des Moore makes it as far as stage 2 before having to park his Toyota with mechanical troubles, while Willie Singleton is another casualty on stage 2. His Blue Gas Sierra is working well on the dry stretches. But it is when he gets onto the narrow, nasty roads that it all goes wrong for Willie.
The long fast left, 16 downhill to easy right.
Quick, Tom. Quick, Tom.
He and Tom Collins beat a hasty retreat from the stranded smoking Sierra, more concerned about the cars coming behind than any real danger of fire. Singleton is soon joined on the retirements list by Tommy Graham. His Escort suffers engine problems. And by Kevin Barrett. Kevin was clearly enjoying the transition from an Escort to a Manta, but then the ex-Niall Maguire Opel was sidelined with a broken throttle.
Left 200.
Roy White and Des Cooney soon discover the floods from earlier in the week have left a dangerous legacy.
50. Jump into a left 1 flat 150. Double caution. Keep it. Take your time now, right? Okay.
They have a lucky escape. And after that, co-driver Cooney just can't wait to get back onto dry land.
Into left 1 flat, there could be water. Into left 1 slippy 100.
But their adventures are far from over.
Into left 4 and gravel. 50. Right 3 in bad water 150. You have no grip now on the slicks, right?
Yeah, okay.
Left 2.
This, I'm afraid, is the last we see of Mick McDade, who crashes out on stage 2. And so it is Michael Barrable who leads us back into the service at Feathered after the first loop. But Frank O'Mahoney can't wait to get there. So eager is he to have his McKinstry team attend to the steering column problem that he recruits Sam McKinstry as an on-board mechanic.
Right, Frank. And I wore gloves there, have you? I haven't here. Do you want to use these here at the minute? Give me one on.
Frank explains the problem.
About 2 miles into the first one, we had the steering wheel got tight. Apparently the bush up by the top of the rack is got too tight when the steering column expanded with the heat from the car, and eventually about halfway through you could hardly pull it at all. Well, the first stage wasn't too bad, but it got worse than in the second one, so I think we dropped a considerable amount on the second one. The third one now, it was eased off a bit again. They got some small bit of work done to it, and they're changing it here.
Gillece is 4 places behind his championship rival.
I was a bit slow starting. Stages were difficult to start on, and I'm afraid that Michael's got away on me. You know, he's half a minute on us now after 3 stages. It's a big margin. His car seems to be really good.
Well, sure, after the tee, you never know. That's worth a half a second.
Well, it's a low octane tea I run on.
Barrable has tyres on his mind, but he's happy with his position.
We're running a hard compound Pirelli tyre. We've new Pirellis on for the weekend. The third stage was a very nice, fast-flowing, abrasive stage where you could kind of let the car out and throw the car around an awful lot more. Getting the heat into the tyre seems to be our problem halfway through the second and the third stage, but it seems to be working all right. So we're gonna that's our plan. We're going to try and consolidate it very much in the next loop of stages.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
This looks familiar. Now in retirement, former tarmac champion and multiple Stonethrowers winner Frank Meagher couldn't resist the chance to tackle the Slevenham stages, even if it is only as a 00 driver. Barrable begins the second loop in the same fashion as earlier in the day, cautiously. He is only 5th fastest, but reports no problems. His biggest problem, in fact, is Donnelly. Charlie has the Manta lit up with the fastest time here on stage 4. The Maharam man is only 9 seconds behind the leader. Frank O'Mahoney is a lot happier now that he can steer the Subaru, and he's his sights set on 3rd place, which at the moment is being held by Ray Breen in the Metro 6R4. John Gillece is definitely beginning to shake off the rust, and he's right on the tail of O'Mahoney. In fact, only 5 seconds cover 3rd to 5th places after stage 4. There is 20-second gap back to the escort of Derek Smith. And amongst those battling their way onto the top 10 on the second loop is Charlie McVitie in his escort Cosworth. And Manx-man Ian Corkerell in the same Metro 6R4 that Jimmy McRae drove to victory in the Manx National Rally. But Dermot Kelly is heading out of 7th place and into retirement. And Seamus Leonard's hard-earned 8th place is about to be lost in a more dramatic fashion. He will suffer a flattened 5th gear roll after a broken drive shaft on the Nissan. His place in the top 10 is quickly filled by Border Championship leader Norman Armstrong. And Kieran O'Neill, who is as always giving his cadet some terrible stick. Meanwhile, Roy and Dez's white knuckle ride is continuing.
Right 1 flat 100, left 1 flat 100, into a left 2 and a right 4 200.
Just in case Roy hasn't got the hang of the pace note language, Dez is adding his own translation.
Stage cancel, slow down.
Stage cancel, is it?
No, keep going. Just slow down, that's all you have to do.
But in this case, Roy is right. The stage has been cancelled. An accident has blocked the stage, and as the cars queue up, Martin Withers' Mitsubishi is hit from behind by the Honda of Thomas Taff. Damage is superficial, but both cars will be able to continue.
Into dip and a right 2 100. Keep right to turn left 7. It's a hairpin.
Roy White and Des Cooney are engaged in a ferocious struggle for their class with Brian Mulholland.
Keep her lit.
This is what the FESP Peugeot looks like from the outside. But hey, the fans are still out in force, enjoying the crack and the weather in County Tipperary, and counting down the class winners. Class 1 goes to Brendan O'Rourke and Magella Carthy. Class 2 to Thomas and Susan Taff. John Faulkner and Sean Ferris win Class 3. Martin Withers and Nick Bracken take Class 4. And Brian Flanagan and Ted Gaffney win Class 5. Class 6 goes to Sebastian Stackpole and Pat Dowling. And Rory Galligan and Anthony Foley are the winners of Class 7. Brian and Martin Mulholland take Class 9. And Class 10 goes to John Noland and Don Manley, who also provide us with the spin of the weekend. Class 11 to Chris Finnegan and Sean Ryan. And John Shaw and Dermot Flynn win Class 14. I'm afraid Roy and Des miss out narrowly on their class win, but discover that other people's problems can sometimes be bigger than their own in rallying.
200. Left one over bump and right one. Car off. Take your time over the bump. 100. Right. It's up here. It's up here. Right four. Right four. Keep into my side. Left
That
one.
was Charlie McVitie's escort in the
Right
ditch,
three,
and all's
left
well
two.
that ends well. Roy and
Into
Des
four,
make it
right
home
seven.
20th overall
Movement.
and second in the class in the FESB Peugeot. Now it's time to get down to the serious business of the top 10 in the Moylan and Murray Stonethrowers Rally. Kieran O'Neill and Hugh Giles are third in class and 10th overall in the Opel Kadett. Tony O'Riordan and Don Montgomery take 9th place in the Metro. John Shanahan and Michael Moore are 8th in their escort and 2nd in their class. Ian Corkle and Howard Allison make the trip from the Isle of Man worthwhile with 7th overall. And Norman Armstrong and Herbie Blackburn produce another class-winning performance to take 6th place. Derek Smith and Derek Cafferty, who so nearly didn't make the start, end up in 5th place. But Frank O'Mahoney and Hugh McPhillips are demoted from 3rd to 4th because of the road penalties incurred with their earlier steering problems. Despite this, it's been another fine drive from the Corkman. John Gillece and Michael Gibson benefit from O'Mahony's road penalties and take 3rd place. But fastest time on the final stage shows John's back in form and ready to fight for the championship.
I think just actually my car just didn't have the performance. The engine's quite new and it's a bit tight still. It probably has a little bit more to develop later on. I thought I was going okay on the last couple of stages, and in fact I was quickest on the last stage. But Frank and Michael are using the rocket fuel, and I think I'll have to invest in some of this extra go.
Charlie Donnelly and Jerry McVeigh don't need any extra boost. They've been going like a rocket all day and thoroughly deserve 2nd place. Indeed, most people thought it was the drive of the weekend.
Even we had been very quick on the out of the box at the start. I don't think the technology's just not there. It's starting to get exciting now. If we can keep it like this from now to the finish, it'll be a good battle now.
But Michael Barrable has the technology, and he has driven a perfectly judged rally. Well, almost. This half spin on the last stage could do nothing to hold his victory run. Even co-driver Joe Downey was impressed.
The first stage was a difficult stage. There was a lot of water, so we decided to play ourselves in. And once we got the first one behind it, then he did the rest.
Fair dues. Now, Michael just had a word with John Gillece. He says he's still leading the championship, but you're closing on him all the time.
Yes, he will be still leading the championship. He needed, ideally, we all needed a good score today, but obviously only one person could get it. Having a maximum score for us today is really setting up for a cliffhanger. It'll bring it, please God, it'll go down to the wire.
Great.
So Barrable closes the gap to Gillece to 16 points, and Donnelly is only another 4 behind after the Moylan and Murray Stonethrowers Rally.